privilege for me to be here, and I know that we had a great day yesterday, and today we are concluding that. So allow me just to say a few words in terms of my relationship with City Power. It really comes a very, very long way. But I grew up in Soweto in a township known as Mdeni. Always tell people, grew up from a very poor background. We were so poor at home that even other poor people called us poor. That was my reality. That was my reality, but the address has since changed. I was selling coal in the township, and you look at what City Power is doing, the issue of energy. So this energy business CEO has been just my business. I studied electrical engineering, and I knew that one needed to do something about the energy of our country. And I remember very well, some years back, I was working for Rotec Engineering, and City Power was one of my main clients, and I'm excited that today I'm coming back to this organization that has assisted me in my career as well as calling. I left Rotec Engineering, I was with Zest. At Rotec, we were dealing with refurbished transformers, but at Zest, we were selling new transformers to the organization. So you can tell that there's been a very good relationship. I came back later again, some years ago, where we were having interventions within the organization. And here am I today, being the program director of the Energy Indaba, the one and only. Can we please give ourselves a round of applause for today? Thank you so much. I'm just very, very cautious in terms of time, how we're doing in terms of time, but I want to just get straight to the point and ask our first speaker, who is Professor Johnny Dladla, to come and assist us from JMD Energy Resources. Please, let's put our hands together for Professor Dladla.
Good morning to everyone. Program Director, thank you very much for the warm words of welcome. If I may just kick off also by honoring the City Power leadership, the chairman of the board, for really opening the session yesterday, which encouraged me. I had said to Untuli, we won't have a problem given our height. But it looks like there's a distraction here. Your opening remarks yesterday really helped in a sense of my preparations for today. I was even tempted, actually, as I was preparing that, to save time, I'll just say I concur with everybody that had spoken yesterday. And as such, and then sit down. But because of the PFMA issues, I thought that could be irregular when the auditors come to say, so nimletile lo wadla, the next thing I got delivered. So I will try and make sure that I protect you. To the CEO, Bomashava, thank you very much for honoring me with the invitation to be here. To the delegates and distinguished guests, I saw we had students as well who normally worth a special welcome, and I greet you as well. There is something missing, though, when we do the greetings, and I'll tell you why. I was born in Alex, which is just 18.5 kilometers down the road from the company I ended up working for 19 years, which was Eskom. Now, if you come to think of a boy from Alex ending up being a CEO at Eskom, it's quite refreshing. And that, for me, start talking to the balanced energy transition. But Alex didn't just produce one CEO. It so happens that another boy from Alex, who happened to be a former CEO at City Power, came from Alex. So I think let's give it to Alex, guys. So coming from Alex, what is missing in the greetings is that siyacamta, so it's Ola, Eita. So I'd like to say Ola to everyone here. Gentlemen, if I have to kick off, the balanced just energy transition topic, for me, it's not an academic exercise. If you look at when I started at ESCOM, which was in the early 90s, the vision was of electricity for all, which was in transitioning from what the black townships were not enjoying, which was there was no electricity. The program director spoke about coming from Mdeni and selling coal. This is what happened, actually. In the townships, we used to have coal yards where trucks would go and collect coal from Wheatbank to come and sell in the townships. Now, when ESCOM prudently decided that everyone would have to enjoy this electricity, then they came with a vision of electricity for all. That's how I was brought into ESCOM. So talking about a balanced, just energy transition for me is what I've experienced. And this is where I draw my discussions with you this morning, that balanced energy transition at the time, it was just itself. So it's not a new thing. It was just in a sense that we moved out of the darkness into the light that ESCOM was bringing in. However, if you look at the disruptions that which the transition caused, the coal stockyards had to be transitioned elsewhere because now we had to start enjoying electricity. Now, ESCOM had to make sure that the electricity that is being used has to be paid for. However, they had to do it in a manner that was orderly, in a sense that they knew that when electricity was introduced, the homes, the families were still paying off the high purchase for the Welcome Dover stoves. Then they had to make sure the primary stoves, they need to know what to do with it. However, electricity was not catering for everything because the Welcome Dover stove was doing the cooking, the boiling of the water, the heating of the house. The next morning, you'll still have warm water to bath. But with electricity, it's either you have the geyser, you have the kettle to make tea, you have to have electric irons and all those things. Now, you're getting this electricity coming into the home, however, you don't have the appliances to start enjoying the electricity because you're still paying off the high purchase equipment. So that's where my mind went when I was asked to come and speak about the balanced, just energy transition. So given the lessons from where we come from is that electricity became a disruptor. It displaced what used to be small businesses in the township. However, ESCOM had to bring someone that could help to make this thing make sense. The first sense was creating awareness, educating the communities that ESCOM was going to be connecting. So awareness and education is quite critical for any change in a step of doing things. And in this case is that if we pick up from the previous lessons is that it created new entrepreneurs now, people that could start procuring appliances to sell. Now, ESCOM was not in the appliance supply industry, so we had to think creatively. You may recall for those in those days is that for Eskom to then start realizing the use of electricity, we introduced starter packs, which was kettle, two plate, and an iron. So we had to work with the suppliers, the OEMs of those equipments, and had to have a way of distributing them. I'm painting this picture in a sense that with the just energy transition, it's a bit now sophisticated because we're talking about technologies. I thought I'd just give that background so that whatever I'm presenting, if you could have that in mind as to this is where I'm coming from and this is where I'm drawing the analogies. Just to close on this example is that when electrification had to happen, we didn't have any qualified township people that could run the businesses. So we had the electricians that came from elsewhere to come and connect our homes. They had to do it fast and efficiently so. So the connections had to be surface piping of making sure that the pipes, they don't have to cut the walls, but there was surface, and then there was a DB board. We just had one light on it. You could plug everything. I think you remember all of that. But because that was low skill and required unskilled labor, they had to get then the township people that could do it. What worked though is that there was skills transfer. Now with balanced just energy transition, those are some of the lessons that we will have to pick up. However, now there's more sophistication around it. However, those lessons will still apply. I have a pack of slides. Oh, thank you very much. Someone that was supposed to have been here to help me just transitioned elsewhere, so he's not here. But thank you very much. You can run the slides. What I'll be covering in the presentation, it's 5 areas. One is understanding what the balanced just energy transition is. Secondly, I'll be looking at the SA current energy reality. Then I'll be looking at the municipal mandate, also looking at the moral and legal imperative, which I think the panel yesterday somehow touched on this. And lastly, it will just be the call to the balance of just energy transition. Now, if you look at what exactly is just energy transition, for me, it means the municipalities, business, and ordinary South Africans need to give that balance. And just understanding what that balance is firstly is that what is the just energy transition? And secondly, what makes that balance? If you look at South Africa moving away from the coal and fossil fuels, moving toward the cleaner and renewable energy sources, which is largely the technologies around solar, wind, hydro, gas, and green hydrogen, to name a few. I had the CEO yesterday talking about converting waste, looking into the energy side of things, if I understood you correctly. Those are some of the innovations and initiatives that City Power has already started engaging on. And that will continue happening. If you look at the electricity for all scenario, that's what also happened. When we had those starter packs of kettle, iron, and plate, then you had ends for warming up water. These then start evolving. However, to encourage the innovation, there has to be continuous engagement with the communities that we serve so that we don't leave them to chance. 1, 2, looking at the safety aspects of it as well and the risks that get involved when there's no awareness and there's no education. If you look at the just energy, looking at the cleaner energy, it has to be about fairness. And one can ask the question, how do we protect jobs whilst protecting the planet? I think yesterday, This was described quite broadly, looking at the socioeconomics and the justices, social justices, and how do we attract investments while empowering communities. Lastly is how do we modernize our grid without leaving municipalities behind? You can move to the next slide, sir. I'm now taking you into the dimensions. There we are. We have to be looking at what makes this balanced. This for me is, we are about finding the just spot between ambition and reality. I was tempted to say a sweet spot. Now, electricity, you don't taste it, so I thought it would be just spot between ambition and reality. And there's 4 dimensions that I'd like to share with you. The first one is the energy security. What is the goal there? Is to keep the lights on while building new renewable energy and capacity. Secondly is the jobs and livelihoods, protecting workers in the coal mining towns whilst creating new green jobs. Thirdly is the municipal stability, which is ensuring municipalities to stay financially viable as energy models change. Then lastly, on the dimension is the climate responsibility, which is really looking at reducing emissions in line with our global climate commitments. Further on, what is not just energy transition? You can move to the next slide, sir. What is not just energy transition is that it's not anti-coal, nor is it anti-renewable, and definitely not anti-growth. It is pro-balance, that is managing the transition without destroying what still sustains our people. To think that we can replace 40,000 megawatts installed capacity in South Africa with renewable energy, it's not going to happen quicker than you anticipate. So this is complementary as to, whilst we are addressing the elephant in the room, is that it has to be taken in bite sizes. So the renewable energy, yes, required. Technologies, yes, required. However, it's a complement of how do we then start addressing other challenges. It is not enough, though, that the change of fuel powers our grid. We must also change the mindset that governs our transition. How does this then affect the ordinary South Africans? Is that we need to talk beyond policy documents. For the workers and our families, it means, and that's the slide I'm addressing here, is that for the workers and our families, it means retraining and redeploying, keeping electricity affordable whilst we modernize. It means investing in communities, not abandoning them. For municipalities, it means becoming energy designers, not just distributors, a point that was well articulated yesterday by the various speakers. Partnering with private players to build local generation. I think a lot of points from speakers were talking about collaborations, so that forms part of what the municipalities are focusing on. I think the CEO covers it quite broadly as well yesterday. Then for the entrepreneurs, it means new business opportunities. We've realized that there's rooftop solar installations, smart metering, energy storage, hydrogen, and local manufacturing. I may just pause here that before the solar rooftops became fashionable, that was in the early 2000s when our former president Mandela was still alive. There was a project in KZN that one of the petroleum and oil company was sponsoring, and Eskom had to assist them. So we went to KZN and we're going to put these solar panels at the school to help with the lighting and everything. Long story short here was, and it comes back to education and awareness. A month later, we heard that those solar panels disappeared. And where did they disappear to? They were made coffee tables in their homes. So they looked so pretty that they were like very nice, classy coffee tables. Now, that also has to come with awareness creation and discussions. I think our colleague yesterday was talking about risk, the stealing and everything else. That could be another area which expands your scope of work when some of these things happen. But again, it's a training, because some of these Baki brigades become the installers of these roof solar panels, not knowing the weight that the roof can take in the homes. So that becomes part of the education part of it. Now, in the Presidential Climate Commission, South Africa is expected over 5 years that it needs about 1.5 trillion in jet investments. And much of it will really come through municipalities and local projects. That's where the skills development, technology acquisition, new entrepreneurs will be coming from. So that has to be catered for that. Lastly, to the communities, it means cleaner air, healthier lives, and a future powered by hope and not pollution. If we move to the next slide. Yeah, I think this is a well-known fact in terms of the IRP, which is aiming at anything between 40 and 45% of the renewable energy by 2030, which also talks to the SDGs. And those are the technologies that has been looked at. You can move to the next slide, sir. I'd like to focus now on the municipal mandate. Municipalities sit at the epicenter of just energy transition. They are where policy meets people and the vision meets service delivery. I think the CEO touched on the service delivery yesterday, and that is the mandate for the municipalities. But many of our municipalities face the real pressures, and those of the aging infrastructure, the debt, load shedding, and declining revenues. We must empower the municipalities to generate their own electricity, procure from the IPPs, enable private participation through wheeling, and retain financial stability while keeping energy affordable. I'd like to pause here and say those independent power producers, nothing stops the Munichs also to be one of those IPPs as well, to participate in that space. Which then means municipalities cannot be spectators in the transition. They are the stage itself. Would like to move? Okay. I'd like to then move into the moral and legal imperative. The just energy transition is not just about technology, it is about justice. When people ask, is it just? They are really asking, is there still a place for us in the future that we are building? Our Constitution and the National Environment Management Act enshrines environmental justice. Climate justice is becoming a global standard, but energy justice is ensuring fairness in access, cost, and participation, which is still emerging. The challenge here is to bridge this gap. Legislations give authority, but justice gives legitimacy. In environmental justice, we have to make sure that the communities don't bear the disproportionate environmental burdens. Then the just energy transition must then ensure that no community bears disproportionate economic burdens. Lastly, I'd like to just challenge the delegates here and the communities that you come from, that when you talk about the balance test will be that of the leadership. We must balance ambition with capacity. We need speed with sensitivity, and we need to look at the environmental duty with social equity. Our success will not be measured by megawatts added, but it will be by the communities that have been uplifted. If you look at the electricity for all, that vision and campaign uplifted communities. A balanced transition is one where energy, equity, and empathy share the same grid. The just energy transition is not a destination. It is a journey of moral courage, economic transformation, and shared responsibilities. And the challenge to all of us then should be, if our Constitution guarantees environmental and social justice, then who will guarantee energy justice? For the workers, entrepreneurs, and families whose livelihoods are being redesigned today. And that is what City Power and other municipalities should continue focusing the mind. And until that question is answered, either by legislation, policy, and conscience, the just energy transition will remain not a destination, but an unfinished promise. In conclusion, Program Director, is that I'd like us to commit and ensure that every community that once powered South Africa with coal now powers the future with courage. I thank you.
Sorry. Thank you. Can we give Prof another round of applause, please? Thank you so much for courage, and thank you so much for sharing. At this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to call Mr. Thamsanqa Mathiso, City Power's CCO, who's coming to share with us shaping the future through technological systems. Can we put our hands together for him? Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We recognize in our midst, as the program director has highlighted, the chairperson of the board and the board members who are here to support this event, the CEO of City Power, the executive of City Power, employees of City Power who are here, employees of City of Johannesburg, executive of City of Johannesburg, and everyone who's a stakeholder, a customer, and a service provider who's here. In fact, CEO, if you were to ask me, the theme of this conference is what Professor Vali highlighted yesterday as the element of social within the energy trilemma. The previous Energy Indaba spoke mostly about the trilemma, which spoke about energy security, energy security, energy sustainability, and energy security, energy equity, and environmental sustainability. Last time we were here, we outlined a 10-point plan that focused on technologies, on how we were gonna change the energy landscape. I want to remind the House that number one, as City Power, we spoke about what we call a long-term view in our energy sustainability. It was called a Municipal Independent Power Purchase Agreement. We then said we will be appointing service providers who will provide to City Power a 20-year contract to supply sustainable and a sustainable energy. So to give feedback to this forum, what we have done, we've received board approval and we've received council approval. We are on the way. We are saying by June, we will be out advertising for energy municipal independent power purchase program, where we'll be drawing a lot of people to supply energy to City Power. The second aspect of the 10-point plan was the rooftop solar. I think that was quite emotional. That's where you saw even the aspect of the society. We installed on our 8 depots, 3 depots are currently on a PV system. I think one of them was Lenasia, which was constantly on outage. Service delivery was a mission in Lenasia. And by us installing PV, it changed the life of the employees there, but it also changed the lives of the communities who are around there, because calls could not be forwarded to Lenasia because of the outages. The other program is that we also installed PV in the fresh produce market. CEO, you would have known that previously the fresh produce market used to be on the news about fresh produce getting rotten due to the electricity supply problems which were in the area due to the cable theft. We have sustained that, we have changed that, and I believe communities around there have been changed. The third one was the installation of Joburg Water, installation of PV in Joburg water infrastructure. At the time of load shedding, we recognized that water was a critical part, or one of the critical services that were impacted by the delivery or by load shedding. And in us installing in those 18 infrastructure sites, we managed to stabilize the water supply. I think the most emotional part is when we were in the part of the province to install in 5 schools of specialization. There's one school that is in Soshanguve. It's the school of the disabled. We went there, we installed about 3 megawatts of power because of the challenges they had. When there's a load shedding, they could not cook. When there's load shedding, the kids who are blind could not learn. And I remember, CEO, we went there, we took the AG there to see the work that we were doing. So it was quite amazing to see that work done. The third aspect of the program was the embedded, the SSEG, small scale embedded generation. What we saw there was an uptake of customers who were beginning to register their installations. And I know that has actually been affected by a negative publicity about customers who are told that they will be overbilled once they register. But I think we've seen an uptake. We've registered almost over 40 megawatts of power that is actually generated by our customers. We are currently looking, we have an approved feed-in tariff, and going forward, we will be bringing this, we will be making sure that customers can be refunded on excess energy that they are producing. Program number 4 was the DSM and energy efficiency program. I think program director, the school kids that you saw today or yesterday and today were the biggest contributor to the DSM, demand side management, and the energy efficiency. These school kids came up with ideas on how City Power can assist customers to reduce the utilization of energy in that. And in that, CEO, I'm giving the forum the update of the work that City Power has done since the previous energy Indaba. Number 5, we spoke about the electric vehicle. We are proud to say in the near future, most of you who are here will be invited when we launch our first, and I think it's the biggest. I always say to EXCO, we are bad number 2s. We don't want to be number 2s. We are good number 1s. And I think that's the drive that the CEO, the culture that he has put within EXCO, to say when it comes to the innovation, when it comes to the implementation, we must always make sure that we implement on time and we see the results. So we will be launching an electric vehicle charging stations, and we've seen partners. BMW is here, Volvo was here, and some of the cars that were exhibited here, to show that we are not only talking about the future of electric vehicles, but it is happening. I was looking at the stats of the electric vehicles. I've realized that between 2020 and now, the uptake of electric vehicles has increased by almost 400%. In 2020, we had less than 1,000 cars registered electric vehicle. Currently, we are sitting at plus minus just below 6,000 vehicles that are registered within the Inetis system, which are electric vehicles. Number 6, we spoke about expanding our generation capacity. We have brought in, and I know we had critics on our OCGTs, we brought in our small-scale embedded generation into the mix to make sure that we add the capacity. So we managed to bring in 100 megawatts of power. We are finalizing, in fact, we brought in 50 in John Ware. We are finalizing another 50 in Durban Street, and it demonstrates the implementation. That program number 7 was the rolling out in partnership with Department of DMRE at the time, but now is DEE, the rolling out of solar geysers. We've demonstrated even in that space that we have rolled out over 15,000 geysers in communities which are solar-based to relieve the stress on the grid. Program number 8 was the battery energy storage. CE, we are saying before December, we are rolling out a program of a 200 megawatt battery storage across our substation. We are targeting those substations that are incurring ESCOM penalties to reduce them, but eventually we'll make sure that the peak is actually shaved in most of our substations. And I think we've had discussions with DBSA, who's also keen to make sure that they fund that program for City Power. Program number 9, remember we said we had a 10-point plan. Program number 9 was the solar high mast. We saw the guy when we installed the solar high mast during load shedding. Those were the only lights. In fact, there's one light that is installed in one of the routes that I usually that I use when I go back home. I always look into that light every time, even if there's no lights in that particular intersection. But you always see the solar high mast being lit, and it's part of the innovation that City Power brought. The last one was the solar microgrids. We've rolled out 5 microgrids in City Power ever since the previous. Collectively, it's probably sitting at about 8 megawatts that we've rolled out directly into the communities. And I want to tell the forum today that City Power was the first to roll out a microgrid which is government-funded microgrid. So as I said to you, in our EXCO and in our company, we are bad number 2s. We always want to be number 1. So continuing with the shaping of our future using energy, and I think we've heard the story coming all the way. And as I said, if I was to talk about the theme of all the speakers who have come in the front about this particular event, it's about including the society in what we are doing. And one of the things that we are going to be doing, I wanted to give an overview of what we have done. There is a transformation that is taking place in the energy sector. And I think the difficulty in not bringing the community along is that industry develops products which communities at the end of the day take, whether they like them or not. We've seen with social media, social media has its positives, social media has its negatives. But in the energy, what Professor called it quadrilemma, is that we need to bring communities, schools need to innovate, young kids need to innovate, communities must state that we need this type of product, so that whatever that is done, it's actually done with the community in mind. In fact, there's a concept in engineering which is called social engineering. So it means you are engineering with a society in mind. The part, globally, there is a huge increase in terms of the renewable energy space. But it's important that we understand in terms of our energy transformation to say what is it that we mean when we talk about energy transformation. The argument has always been that in Sub-Saharan Africa, we still have huge deposits of some of the coal, and what do we do with that? And I think that's why even on the IRP, it does not talk about eradication of coal, but it's the introduction of what we call an energy mix, bringing alternative energy sources, bringing coal, bringing gas, bringing all these other elements to make sure that communities are actually lit. The challenges we face as South Africa is that we've got an unreliable grid. So the reason that we need to introduce technology to manage the grid is so that we can improve the reliability of the grid. We've got, in the city of Johannesburg, we've made an assessment. In fact, the statistics show that there is 90% access of electricity. So there's a 10% of people who do not have access to energy. And we believe that technology will enable the city to be able to bring in those customers, so those communities into the grid. The issues around climate impact, I also grew up in Soweto, but I want to use that not to boast, but to show you the environmental impact. Before I worked for City Power, my home is close to what we call Orlando Power Station. Orlando Power Station has a license of about 400 megawatts, a generation license. And I remember there used to be people in the community who used to work at Orlando Power Station. And I realized later that Orlando Power Station was actually owned by the city of Johannesburg. And if it was still alive now, it would be owned by City Power. But one of the bad things about Orlando Power Station was the environmental impact that it had in the community, because the power station was a coal-generated power. So we used to say it was generating power to the northern suburbs, but it was polluting the southern townships. And I think we need to change, we have a responsibility to change that narrative, to make sure that communities, we've brought in a microgrid in Alexander. So whatever that power that gets generated in Alexander becomes for the communities of Alexander. We've rolled out a microgrid in Vuwani. Whatever power that is generated in Vuwani is for the community in Vuwani. And I think that's where you start putting in the social aspect of energy. The issues of technology, the role of technology is to improve innovation, is to improve grid management. One of the things that we did was to visit the ESCOM, what do they call it, where they do the load shedding. It's a command center. And we realized at the time that load shedding was actually not done by people switching off and switching on the lights, but there's a system behind that. They monitor the frequency, and if the frequency trips, that's when they start commanding areas to be. So that's the role of technology. But the role of technology is to also expand access and reach the balance of the 10% of the customers or communities that do not have access to electricity. So what we've seen within our own environment in City Power was to start talking about what we call the smart grid efficiency. And you'll hear from the colleagues from Schneider, one of the systems that we want to roll out, that we are working towards visibility of the entire network. We are not only talking about the network of wires and cables, but we are talking about visibility of solar, visibility of some of the generation capacity, to make sure that centrally we can be able to see what is happening across. The second role of technology is around the integration of renewable energy. What we have seen is that we of the view that there is a renewable energy side of the network, and then there's a separate side of the network, which is an ESCOM network. But we all need to look into a network as an integrated part that supplies the energy to the communities. One of the things that I've personally spoke to our HR about what we term as the skills of tomorrow. As we see that there is a change in the landscape, there's what we call the skills of tomorrow. One of the skills of tomorrow, it's about AI and data analytics that are going to be coming. So in energy, we used to have electricians, we used to have people who always run and switch off and switch on circuit breakers. But going forward, we are talking about an all-rounded technician, a technician who's not going to only deal about electricity, but a technician who's going to also deal about what we call the telecoms of things. Then we've got what we call an IoT that is going to be automated. So we need to move towards that, and I think what was key to everybody was, in fact, it started with the CEO, what we call a call for action. Going out of this conference, what is it that we need to do when it comes to technology. Number one, we need to see technology as an enabler. When we talk about PV, if you've got a solar in your house, when we say register your solar, you need to understand that your solar has to be visible to the entire network. If you are going to be selling excess power, we should be able to see that excess energy going into the grid. So it's important that we see technology not as a threat, but we see technology as an enabler. We need to also understand what we call strategic opportunities. We need to understand that, as municipalities, we are in a place where, the CEO always talks about the Codec case study, where the executives of Codec, they thought the best innovation that they did was the formulation of a disposable camera. I don't know if you still remember a disposable camera. A camera that used to have a film, you could buy it from anywhere, take pictures of your children, and then go and develop the films. There used to be things that we used to like, which were called negatives. And I know if you were born before, born after technology, you won't know what, but we all wanted the negatives. And I know negative is bad, but if somebody damaged your negatives, that person will be in trouble. If that person would take out of an envelope your negative and expose that negative to the sun, negative as it is, he will be in trouble. So it was the only time we liked negatives. But Codec executives were still celebrating the success of what they call a disposable camera. To say you don't have to have a camera to take pictures. You can buy a disposable camera, and it was fully branded Codec. But on the other side, the cell phone developers were busy putting cameras on cell phones. So it shows how technology changes. Before they could even accept that a disposable camera was something that was going to be replaced, technology had come. So we need to also understand that we need to take what we call strategic opportunities that are there. There are many ways that are coming now in the mainstream that generates energy. So we need to look into that, make sure that we make decisions and integrate some of the technologies into the mix. The other element in terms of the collaboration, so it means when we talk about the collaboration, it's not only the filling stations that are going to be supplying cars with energy, but some of the places like city power charging stations, we are talking about collaboration to the guys that will be rolling out a fleet of Uber cars. We are talking collaboration to some of the City of Johannesburg sister companies who have a fleet of cars to say, how do we work together where we provide an infrastructure within the city? In fact, we visited another company in Cape Town. They are rolling out charging stations in the whole of the national networks. And those are the collaborations that we want. We work with those people, we work with the car companies to make sure that we provide that. And the last part, which is a call, is that we need to be committed to sustainability. Electricity in its current form is very expensive. So one of the elements of sustainability is to make sure that we bring down the price of electricity. In fact, Professor Vali yesterday spoke about the concept of energy poverty. In Eastern Cape, when they were presenting at AMEU, somebody came up with a concept to say, how do you define energy poverty? And they said, energy poverty is when a household spends more than 30% of its income in electricity. It shows that it's unaffordable. If you look into what you are spending, if it's not 30%, if it's not yet 30%, you are fine. But think about somebody who earns 2,500 a month, how much they spend towards electricity. So when we talk about sustainability, we talk about the issues of energy poverty, which is affordable energy. When we talk about sustainability, we talk about environmental part. The fact that the power that was generated in Orlando Power Station did not benefit the people of Orlando, but it went to the north. We're talking about that, to say we need to make sure that environmentally, as we develop, we take care of our environmental. But sustainability talks to communities also, bringing them along. One of the panel spoke about the security. We need to make sure that before people start converting the panels into tables, we need to make the communities to understand that the panel is the one that brings electricity to their homes. We need to work with communities. We need to make sure that communities guard the infrastructure. So ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I want us to continue to look into the social aspect of energy to make sure that we come with solutions that the next Indaba, we can talk about the milestones that we have done to the society to improve their lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Matiso. For all our presenters who've got PowerPoint presentations, I've got a clicker here for you. It's going to be here so that you're able to drive your own slides, please. And the media team will assist us at the back, at the sound team. Thank you so much. At this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, allow me, I wish I said something about this energy thing, because sometimes we take it for granted. There are also two types of people. One, I call them energizers, and the other ones, I call them energy vampires. People who get in the room and they suck the energy out of you. But the energizers, when they get in the room, without them saying anything, you are smiling already. Why? Because they bring life. So I just want to say, energy is life, ladies and gentlemen. Please allow me at this point in time to call our next speaker, Mr. Nishandra Baitnath, who's coming to do a topic at the distributed energy resource management systems. Can we please put our hands together?
Good morning to everybody. It's really great to be here this morning. I'd like to thank the honorary management of Gedi Power, the board members, the employees, and effectively extend a big thank you for the invitation for us as Schneider Electric to present our digital grid offering at this Energy Indaba. It really is a great privilege for me to represent Schneider Electric at this event. We can start off there. Thank you. Okay, so if we... Next slide, please. Okay. I think with the narrative which we've been having this morning, both by the professor as well as Mr. Matiso, we can understand that this energy landscape is actually changing. How is it changing? The energy value chain is evolving where it is becoming more decarbonized, more decentralized, and more digitalized. Electricity consumers are seeking more control over their energy future and are driving the growing presence of distributed energy resources, what we commonly now call as a DER or a DER. This growth is disrupting utility operations, planning, and the industry overall. And with the continued adoption of climate change mitigation policies and renewable energy goals, the adoption of DER will only increase. What I am presenting this morning is effectively what we at Schneider Electric call EcoStruxure DERMS. EcoStruxure DERMS stands for Distributed Energy Resource Management System. And EcoStruxure DERMS is a grid-aware solution tailored for the power utility to manage this disruption. With DER monitoring, forecasting, and control at its core, DERMS enables critical capabilities, including hosting, capacity analysis, grid constraint management, and usage of DER flexibility. What is DERMS. DERMS offers a full breadth of functionality and deployment approaches to assist utilities in their digital transformation journeys. It is being designed for the distribution system operator and their business drivers and processors. EcoStruxure DERMS serves grid operations, engineering, planning, and innovation at the edge. What is EcoStruxure DERMS and its capabilities? We see that DERMS is an extension to the Schneider Electric ADMS, which is the Advanced Distribution Management System, and it allows for active network management. Here we see utilities like City Power, how they should be structured to enable their planning, operations, and optimization teams. When we have a look at the planning, what happens at this level? Where can the network accommodate more distributed energy resources? How can we assist with speeding up and getting through the backlog of DER connection requests? This speaks to exactly what Mr. Matiso mentioned earlier on. By registering your rooftop PV solar, this is an example of a distributed energy resource. And getting through the backlog of this connection request ensures that City Power is able to do their planning accurately. When we look at the operation, where are the DERs? What is their generation capacity? Are they able to control MV SCADA assets directly? Can integration to aggregators control residential DERs? And effectively, what this system allows you to do is now control your two-way energy flow. And the two-way energy flow occurs where you would have a consumer who also has the ability to produce, thus making him a prosumer. So in some cases, he may be importing from City Power, and in other cases, he may be exporting. In terms of optimization, how does City Power optimize their network? Effectively by using the data available, using the data from SCADA, calculating your data from your automatic meter systems, from your smart metering, you're able to forecast your constraints and communicate to your energy aggregators to change your impact on the grid. So how do we now go about integrating these digital or these distributed energy resources? In this slide, we can see how a utility can build towards active network management by integrating DERs. As you can see, the foundation of this lies in network management through the implementation of an ADMS, which includes integration with your GIS, your smart metering, substation automation systems, to be able to provide SCADA and outage management system functionality. DERMS may then be implemented by adding additional integration with weather data as well as the GIS network models, which would allow for network optimization where DERMS enables constraint management, simulation, and planning with the microgrid as well as the electrical vehicle optimization. At the third level, when we have a look at the triangle, by integrating third-party virtual power plant and aggregation platforms, economic dispatch may be achieved through this behavioral demand response and customer engagement. When we look at what we as Schneider Electric have done together with City Power, this slide depicts the journey that City Power is currently embarking on. We, as Schneider Electric, together with City Power, grouped the milestones into horizons, where we started off in 2024, where we had initial licenses deployed to City Power infrastructure for demonstration activities. Following this deployment, we then conducted a consultancy workshop, which was held between all stakeholders from City Power to ensure that all requirements are met. This workshop ensured collaboration across all operational departments responsible for different activities in the City Power network. When we focus on this slide, this is primarily the slide that highlights the implementation of the DERM system. So with this, you can see that we have 3 different horizons where we have defined the use cases, and from that, from the workshop, we've developed the roadmap with which to implement the actual DERMs. When we look at what City Power is aiming to achieve, the ultimate goal is actually grid modernization. So here we can see that we have a staged approach where field hardware is systematically replaced with connected products to enable a smart grid. Through this process, the system evolves to simply providing SCADA, to integrating to the GIS, integrating with smart meters, customer call centers to be able to support the outage management system. What this then allows us, or what this then allows City Power to do, is to actively manage the medium and low voltage networks. This, when implemented in tandem with DERMS, will allow for active management of both the medium voltage as well as the low voltage networks. With Schneider Electric being a global company, we have multiple success stories where we have deployed similar systems worldwide. One such system is one that has been deployed in Australia. And at this, through this case study, we supported this Australian utility who adopted a similar approach to City Power. And by achieving the end goal, what the utility had to do was, there was a lot of effort, consistency, and success is only based on being able to make the system ready with all the necessary inputs. As you can see, there are lots of data inputs required for a system like this to be able to orchestrate across the grid. The Australian customer started off with the Schneider Electric outage management, while still having a third-party SCADA platform. The utility was not necessarily ready for the deployment, or the training, or the change management. And they had to essentially get teams both on the operational side, as well as the engineering side, upskill to maximize the potential of the system. At this stage, the customer has been on this journey for 6 years, and is only now ready to complete the deployment of DERMS. As the CCO mentioned earlier on, I think it's great that City Power wants to be the first, and you can see that throughout South Africa, City Power will be the first to implement a system of this nature, and they can proudly brag that they are the innovators in this space. When we look at how we would typically deploy a system of this nature, we would start off first implementing our ADMS system, and we start off with implementing just the pure SCADA functionality. From the SCADA functionality, we then move on to the integration of the GIS to develop the network models to be able to ensure we have both the medium voltage and low voltage data that would then be used for the outage management. At the same time, we also address the distributed energy resources, and these are not necessarily the large IPPs. These are the small scale embedded generation which occurs on the low voltage end, which is also occurring on the medium voltage end, and this portion of the platform is developed simultaneously. Once you go through that process, you then have a single system where you have ADMS and DERMS incorporated, and by doing this, you effectively use a single user interface. By using a single user interface, you are able to have not just your network operators, but your planners, your optimizers, all using the same system. As you can understand, this makes change management a lot more easier. Typically, when you look at the architecture, as I've mentioned earlier on, Schneider Electric has developed the integration between the GIS systems as well as the ADMS systems, and this integration occurs daily. But with your distributed energy resources, this takes us to a whole new level where you have hundreds of chain sets and new integrations per day in the most detailed parts of the network, which is primarily on your low voltage end. This is driving utilities to develop secondary SCADA systems, and exactly as the CCO mentioned earlier on, by adopting IoT, being able to adopt what we call IEEE 2030.5 servers, onboarding portals, etc., to be able to operationally segregate your DSO operations from the core control room functions. And in order to do this, you need to consider your data collection and system architectures, which are highlighted on this slide. When we look at any utility, in order for a utility to achieve a smart grid, this slide depicts the journey a power utility should prepare for to enable this smart grid, which requires consistency and loads of data. Field equipment also requires replacement to enable smart communications, and integrating IoT-based communications for integrating DERMS further complicates the system. By going through this process, the power utility ensures that it's able to successfully achieve the dream of a smart grid. I thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. At this point in time, please allow me to call up on stage from Huawei, Mr. Ivang Wang, Director of Huawei Sub-Saharan Africa Energy Sector, who's coming to deal with the subject of IDS, which is Intelligence Distribution Systems for all distribution low voltage services. Can we please put our hands together? Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Firstly, thank you very much to City Power team and all the colleagues here, and to give us this opportunity to introduce the intelligent distribution solution to everyone. So after this session, we can have more discussion with all the colleagues. Okay, so actually, the full name of IDS is Intelligent Distribution Solution, and it's focusing on the low voltage mini-sub region to deal with the current challenges what we have, for example, the land loss, this kind of issue. So in this presentation, I give you more details. Firstly, let me give you a very short introduction regarding Huawei. Maybe not all of us know Huawei very well. Actually, Huawei is an international company, so we have more than 200,000 employees globally, and we have our business in more than 170 countries. In South Africa, we have a big office park in Woodmead, and we also have almost in every Africa countries, we have a local office, we have a local team there. And one more important information is Huawei. In Huawei, every year Huawei pay a very big investment in our research and development. So you can see on the figures here, it's more than 50% employees are doing research and development. So, and also we are ranking number 6 globally regarding the research and development investment. Okay. Next one, I want to give you some information regarding our capabilities in the world. You can see here on this slide, globally we are serving more than 200 electric power customers and in more than 70 countries to offer our technology and solutions here. In Africa, we also have more customers here. In South Africa, we work with City Power and Eskom to support the requirement by using our technology here. Okay, next one. Let's have a look regarding the challenges what we have now and in the future. So here are some figures on this page. On the left side, you can see, actually these are figures from China. I take China as an example. In China, the renewable energy is growing very fast. Last year, in 2024, the renewable energy installation, the capacity installation is more than 1,450 gigawatts. So in China, and also the distributed PV is growing very fast as well. And also China is a big country regarding the electric vehicles. And in 2024, we already have more than 31 million electric vehicles. So actually this new energy and new load, the EV cars, is uncertain, can bring an uncertain impact on our power grid. And secondly, it's about the energy loss, land loss. Actually, in Southern Africa continent, currently we still have a big challenge regarding the land loss. The average rate maybe more than 20%. Actually, in China, we have very good practice regarding the land loss reduction. So in China, we have less, the land loss rate is less than 5%. And the third one is about the power supply reliability. Here are some cases, I put it on the slide. Even in Europe, in the developed countries, we are still having the challenges regarding the power outage issue. At the beginning of this year in Spain, maybe you know the news. In Spain, they have a blackout issue regarding their electric power network. So it's a big issue regarding the power supply reliability. So these are the challenges what we have now. And next one, on this page, I want to give you more details regarding what is IDS. Okay, on the left side, you can see it's a technical architecture of the IDS solution. We call it cloud pipe, edge pipe device architecture. You see here. The key component in this solution is one is HPLC, high-speed power line communication technology we are using. And the second one is Edge Computing Unit, short for ECU. And so we install the ECU and the high PLC smart meters in the mini-sub transformer region. And we use this to monitor the data, to collect the data from this region, mini-sub region. And we use wireless network communication or fiber network communication to collect all the data from the mini sub-region and back to our control. So in the control, we can use cloud infrastructure, no matter public cloud or private cloud. And we put all the applications on the cloud infrastructure to do the data analysis to make sure the data be centralized managed by our utility. Okay, so on the right side from this slide, you can see here are a few key benefits from this technology. The first one is land loss reduction. By using this technology, we can do very fast data collection from the smart meters. Actually, we can achieve minute-level data collection from the smart meters, and also we can do the land loss calculation within every 15 minutes. So it means every 15 minutes we can do the land loss calculation. We know the land loss, how much the land loss and where the land loss. Yeah, the second one of the benefits is power supply reliability. Actually, by using the IDI solution, we can locating the fault of the faulty in the distribution power grid. We can know exactly where it happened. So by using this capability, we can deal with this power outage issue in a quick way. We can do very fast response. And the third one is about the new energy management. Like I mentioned, the distributed PV can manage and can monitored by the IDI solution. Okay. The fourth one is about the capability about the operation and maintenance efficiency. Yeah, because this IDI solution is using cloud edge structure architecture, so it can do cloud edge collaboration. It's a synergy methodology, so means that we can use the cloud infrastructure to manage all the distribution devices. It's a high efficient way to help our utility engineers to manage the massive assets and massive devices in our distribution power grid. Okay, and also here are more capabilities. Actually, the edge computing unit is working like a computer. So the capability of the ECU is more than what we can think about. Because this morning I talked with some City Power colleagues here in this conference venue, and we are talking about the power quality management. Actually, the ECU is it's an open platform, so it can open to not only from our Huawei supplier, but also to our utility colleagues here. So you can develop the apps, what you want on this platform. Yeah. Okay, so that's the IDS. So here are more details regarding the ECU, edge computing unit. On the left side of this slide, actually there are some traditional technology maybe we are using to support our management and operation in our distribution power grid. For example, the AMI system, smart metering system. So we use a meter, we use a data concentrator unit, and to support the meter data collection. And we have the AMI, the billing system, to collect the data, to manage the data. And regarding the mini sub transformer, maybe we have the TTU, transformer terminal unit, to monitor the transformers. And even in future, we have the distributed PV. We use some gateways to manage the inverter of the PV. So we call it a siloed system, siloed data. So there's no data sharing between different systems. But now, if we adopt the ECU edge computing unit, actually we can do more by using one single devices here, because the ECU actually has a flexible interfaces. So means that it can access different kinds of devices now, even in future. Yeah. And also, like I said, it's working like a computer. It's working like a computer, so you can install various applications in this ECU. So the applications can do what you want. So it's we call it it's a open platform, and one single platform can support various business in the distribution grid environment. Okay, next one. Yeah, so here give you some information regarding the HPLC. Full name is a high-speed power line communication. Actually, by using HPLC, what we can do, firstly, is a smart meter data collection. The secondly, it's a distributed PV access management. And the third capability is charging pile management. And the fourth one, I think, is the most very important, is topology identification. Because actually, in the distribution power grid, especially in the mini sub region, it's a challenge. I think it's also hard for our power utility to identify the connectivity from the transformer to different meter customers. So by using HPLC, we can we have the capability to find the topology, the connectivity topology automatically. So it's a very important capability for the HPLC. And also here, I give you some data. Regarding the HPLC. Because the HPLC actually is new, here are some good features regarding this HPLC technology. The first one is the meter reading success rate. Actually, it can achieve very high successful rate, more than 99%, because we already use it in China and we test it in different countries. And also regarding the data collection, so it has very short data collection latency, around 1 minute. And also we can achieve, like I mentioned, we can achieve unified management on the cloud, based on the cloud infrastructure. Okay, we also have successful cases, especially we already have rolled out a big number cases in China. So later I can give you more information regarding the cases. Okay, next one. Yeah. So I want to give you some information regarding the differences between AMI and IDS. On this slide, actually, especially on the left side, you can see the difference of the AMI and the IDS solution. Actually, AMI, the key capability of AMI infrastructure is meter data collection and meter data management. But actually, if we choose IDS solution, the AMI capability, AMI technology is just one of the functions of the IDS solution. In the middle architecture, you can see on the cloud infrastructure, AMI and the billing system is just one of the capability. Yeah, like I mentioned on the previous pages, actually it can do land loss management, it can do the renewable PV management, even it can do the electrical vehicle charging pile management. So it has more capability here. Okay. Yeah, so here's a case. To be honest, we already rolled out this IDS solution in China in a big number. So here is is a very good use case in China state grid. Shanxi is one of the provinces in China. Shanxi power grid, it has more than 39 million users, customers, power users, and it has more than 18 million meters. And regarding their mini sub-transformers, they have more than 150,000 mini sub-transformers. So State Grid Shanxi, they have a big number regarding their distribution assets. But since last 5 years, they have some new changes. The first one is about the new energy growing. So from the last 5 years, their distributed PV growing 7 times, and also for their electric vehicle charging power is also growing. From the last 5 years, it's growing 5 times. So from the distributed PV and the electric vehicle charging power, they bring new challenges to Shanxi distribution power grid. The first one is the unstable impact comes from the distributed PV. And the second one is unpredictable power consumption from the charging power. That's from the EV cars. So Shanxi State Grid, they work with Huawei, and they adopted the IDS solution. On the right side, you can see some figures they already achieved. The number one is the outage management, the land loss management. So yeah, they can achieve the 40 location within 3 minutes. They can find exactly where happened the 40 in their low voltage power lines. And also, in every 15 minutes, they can do the land loss calculation. So based on this IDS solution, so they are continue to reduce their energy loss. So you see this finger. Previously, their land loss is already small, but now they can reduce their land loss from 6% to 4.6%. Okay, and also they achieved a very good power supply reliability. Regarding the SID finger you can see here, previously their SID is around 500 minutes, but now they can achieve around 300 minutes. Okay, this is one case from Shanxi, and I hope all the colleagues here, if you have opportunity to China, it's very welcome to visit Shanxi State Grid. So here is another case, what we did in Philippines. I also want to give you some figures here. Okay, on this page, actually, you can find some figures here. Previously, in Philippines, the power utility, they announced that their power losses is around 5%. Yeah, it's around 5%. But actually, after we deployed the IDS solution in their distribution power grid environment, we found the real losses is around 33% actually. Yeah. So work with these utility colleagues, we use some solutions to reduce the losses. So you can see step 1, step 2, and step 3 on the left side. For example, we find the power safety issue, we just deal with that power safety issue, for example. And by using that kind of land loss reduction manner, so we reduce the land loss around 10%. 10%. And actually, that's non-tactical losses we can do, but also we work with this power utility to use some technology to do the technical losses reduction. So on step four there, so we suggest because we found the power load on the mini-sub environment is very high, especially on the transformers is very high. So we suggest them to add additional transformers into that mini-sub region. So by using this methodology, so we can reduce the power losses to 6%, around 6%. So it's continually, until now, it's continually achieve the losses is around 6%. So this case is, we done this case since last year, at the end of last year, since the beginning of this year. So they are still using this IDS in their distribution environment. Okay, next one. Actually, here I want to say thank you very much for City Power to work with Huawei and to give us this opportunity to test our IDS in our environment, in our City Power environment. Yes, this is a IDS POC, proof of concept, what we have done with City Power team. We selected 3 mini-sub region, and you can see on this map, I put it here. So some region are residential area, some are commercial area. So totally here, we installed, let me check, it's around 100 meters here, totally, in the 3 mini-sub region. And we done the test here. And let me show you the functionalities, what we already achieved. On the left side, you see the architecture is what we adopted in the POC. We installed new meters in the mini-sub region. That meter can support the HPLC capability. And also we installed the ECU on the mini-sub transformers. Yeah, in the ECU, you see here, we have a few apps embedded in the ECU. It's transformer monitoring, environment monitoring, and the meter reading, and also the power distribution, the land loss analysis apps on this ECU. And we're using Huawei public cloud infrastructure. So in Huawei public cloud, we have the high-end system, and also we have the meter distribution meter station management system, and even the land loss management system on the cloud infrastructure. So on the right side, you will find some figures what we achieve. So in this POC, actually regarding the ECU and the meter, we can achieve 100% online rate. So it means that all the ECU and meters we can monitor on our cloud infrastructure. And also regarding the data collection rate is also 100%. All the meter data can be collected by the IDS. And yes, also every 50 minutes, like what we did in China, every 50 minutes we can do the land loss analysis. And also the important capability is a topological relationship display. So by using the IDS, we can clearly distinguish the connectivity from the mini-sub transformer to the smart meter and the users. Yeah, so that's some key capabilities what we already achieved with the city power, with city power team. Okay, next one. So here are more information regarding the power shortage improvement and power source diversification, because we know that the distributed power supply, the distributed PV power supply will grow in the future, and will grow faster. So here, by using the IDI solution, the three approaches here on this page you can find. The number one is improving the power supply shortage. Find the shortage and quickly deal with the shortage. Yeah, because the IDIs, like I introduced, the IDIs can find the power shortage, the power faulty, specifically where it happened in very quick time. And also we can use these IDIs to find the power safety issue, and after the power saved user become the regular user, definitely it can bring the increased revenue for our power utility. Okay, the second one is enable the distributed PV generation. Okay, because the IDI solution can access the distributed PV, can connect the inverter, can monitor the power generation from the distributed PV. So by using the IDIs, it means that distributed PV generation is visible and is controllable, and also it's measurable. So we can measure the power generation for the distributed PV. So it also can empower the off-grid development. So that's the third approach by using the IDI solution. So here, on this page, I just want to give you some information regarding Huawei IDI solution. Actually, it's not only solution from Huawei, but also we are trying to work with IEEE standard organization. We are trying to work with them to introduce the IDI solution to the global electric power industry. So here are some milestones, what we are doing with the IEEE work group. So we already finished the work group meetings with the organization since last year, since 2024. I think maybe in near future, we can get the standards out. Last page, just give you information regarding what I have introduced regarding the Shanxi case. It's very good, and also it's very useful cases. So if you have an opportunity to China, it's really welcome to visit this case, and also to visit the Huawei head office. We are very happy and open to talk with all of you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. At this point in time, may I kindly request that we take our tea break. It's going to be exactly 20 minutes. Then we're coming back, please. We've got panels to do when we come back. So please, people who are in the panels, please work with me so that life becomes easy. We come and I will introduce you when you are here already. Thank you.
As indicated, I'm Palma Maleke from City Power. I will be facilitating this panel under the youth program, since I'm still falling under the category of a youth. So our theme is, what does energy mean to us? When I was in primary, I was told that energy is the ability to do work. And as and when I get into the workplace, I've learned that when we speak of energy, we speak of access. Do we have access of energy at schools, hospitals? When we have the access of energy, is it sustainable? Are we transitioning into the future at which we need to keep the energy sustainability? We also speak of innovation as youth. Given the energy crisis that we have, what can we do as the youth of today? I'm told we're the youth of 2K, back then they're the youth of 1K. We speak of equity. Yesterday, it was said that as when we transition, let's not forget about the poor. Is what we implementing affordable to the poor? Because this investment that comes with the initiative within the energy space are expensive to initiate. But is it affordable to the poor? And that's where, as youth, we come in to unpack the energy. What does the energy mean to us? Here, colleagues, I've got 3 students and our 2 guest speakers that will be sharing with us. What do they understand when they hear the just energy transition? What does it mean to you personally or professionally in the context of South African energy landscape? Allow me to give opportunity to our learners to introduce themselves, their names. The school already has been said where they're coming from and the grades at which these learners are, and to our guest speakers. If we can have 1 minute.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sharon Rabetu, and I'm from Kwapegilanga Secondary School. I'm doing grade 10. Thank you.
Good afternoon to all. My name is Audrey Shisuko, proudly representing Skoripola Secondary School, and I'm currently doing grade 11 in the Science Department.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone, and all of our delegates who are here. My name is Sandu Samsimang, and I'm a grade 11 learner from David Makubo Secondary School.
Good morning, everyone. I'm not standing up because I'm a 1,000. My name is Lomile Mudisele. I'm from City of Tshwane Municipality. I'm Director, Energy and Electricity Business Unit, Technical Services. Thank you.
I'm also a 1K, so I'm not standing up. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lydia Jonathan Kapangila. I'm the founder of the African Youth Energy Networking. I'm so glad to be here today, and I love this panel. It's very, very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. So I basically prepare the questions, and hopefully if we don't run against time, I will also give the opportunity to the platform to pose questions to them, not to me, to them. I'm the moderator. I already know the answers. So City Power hosted a school competition in June this year, whereby we have different schools that presented. How can City Power then transition so that we are not left behind? So the student presented their models in ways that it can assist City Power in pushing the just energy transition. To you, Audrey, with your team, you presented the evolution of the lighting system from where we are coming from using different sources of lighting, paraffins, candles, to a normal fluorescent bulb. You said to us that the lights that we are using, they are not energy efficient. For us to transition, we must take into consideration the energy drivers before we implement its sustainability. What inspired you, your display of the evolution of lighting? If you can share with us, please.
So basically, our inspiration came from realizing how easily people take electricity for granted. We wanted to let everyone know that we have to use energy in an efficient way and save it for the future. And by that, we also presented the idea of using LEDs instead of the old traditional bulbs because they take up more energy.
So it was more of energy savings.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving over to Sandiswa. Sandiswa COO, they presented a model of mix of energy, whereby you displayed the wind turbines rotating as a way of generating energy, the rooftop that was powering your school, the waste to energy. And you then said to us, through the initiatives, City Power can buy excess energy from the generation so that we deload our grid by attaining excess energy from a clean alternative sources. How do you think young people can contribute to South Africa's clean future energy, in your understanding?
Okay, in my own understanding, I believe that if we include the youth to contribute to the country's growth concerning energy, I believe that that will bring a lot of benefits towards us. For instance, by training the youth about how to use energy efficiently not only in our households, but also in our community, that will give us a sense of security that even after our time has passed, we know that at least there are some people who can live on the responsibility and carry on the mission towards us. What inspired our model when we submitted it was that one thing I've noticed in our households, energy is usually wasted for usually conventional use. So I believe that if we can harness that energy and reuse it and redirect it, rather than just letting it being wasted away, we can be able to make our country sustainable and move on forward. And one thing I've learned from my role model is Mahatma Gandhi. He said, you must be the change you want to see in the world. Mm-hmm. So I believe that if you want to start making change, I believe it should start with us, particularly the youth, as we are the future. So if it starts with us, we can be able to move forward as a nation and build a solid foundation for sustainability.
Thank you. You said the use of 2K. Okay, moving to Riabeti. Riabeti on the competition presented to us a posture with different mix of energy from geothermal, hydro, wind power, and the solar power. What motivated you to select those sources of energy that you would think it would assist City Power? And just to give the podium about Ria entered the competition alone from KwaBekilanga. She came alone and presented that to us. So what was the driver for you to present the poster to us?
So at first, we actually know that things like hydropower, solar energy, and wind energy, and also biomass energy and geothermal. They are actually environmental friendly. So that was the actually first step, because in order for us to actually maintain the energy and also keep it safe, we also have to keep our world safe, because if we do not keep our world safe, therefore, what is the energy for? You see? So, in fact, what actually inspired this is actually the fact that whatever that I actually used for my my drawings and everything, just like hydros and actually the wind, the sun, and also the plants, they are something that we have been given by Mother Nature, something that we found to the earth, and it's actually not human created, and they actually don't run out. There are things that we found to earth, and we're gonna die, leave them here, and the next generation is gonna find them here. So through those kind of things, as city power, what they can do, if they can actually make a machine or actually convert something that works with that, because that thing is actually found to each and every place. You can never go to Japan and they say that in Japan there's no wind. So if we actually get, as a youth or as a city power, get to create those kind of machines that are going to work with only those kind of things, we can actually build a great relationship, we as South Africa, to other countries. So that's actually one of the part reasons why it was important to me and to actually get inspired to it. So that means we will be actually building relationship, because we'll be selling something that uses something that's everywhere, that can be found everywhere, rather than using something that uses coal. Meanwhile, coal is found somewhere else and we have to buy it. And as a country, sometimes we drop, the economic drop. So if we have something like that, it can actually increase, actually grow the economy. And also as city power, we won't have those kind of problems where they could say, the energy is now low, or maybe today there is no sun. If there is no sun, therefore there is wind. And if there is no wind, it is raining, and that's water. And it is part of all that thing that I actually presented to you guys as a form of a renewable way. It is renewable, it can be reused, than having coal that we're gonna burn today and tomorrow is no longer there. Thank you.
So this is what we have witnessed through the EEDSM schools competition. And I believe the private sector are listening. The youth of South Africa needs to tap into manufacturing so that we see all the assembling of these initiatives, such that we don't only read the data sheet to check how efficient they are. We need also to see the manufacturing part of it. I'm moving to Lomile Mudisele. Usually when she introduces herself, she says, I've been into the power industry for more than 2 decades. That's actually my digital age. Working at the city of Tshwane, you have seen all the transition from building a coal-fired power station, introducing the mixed energy. Obviously, there are challenges that you would have encountered during your years of experience. And here we are as a youth today. What advice would you give to us as a youth who inspired to work in the energy space or municipality infrastructure, given some of the challenges that you have encountered when implementing this initiative? How can we tap in to assist the municipalities as a youth?
Thank you. The challenges are too many to transition. Why I'm saying that is because during our times, we used to work a lot with, my boss called it wires business, only wires. We just maintain, we don't need any other thing to do. But then with the changes that are coming currently, we need more of technical expertise to apply our mind into the changes that are coming. Being the person that controls the city of Tshwane's network, there's a lot coming. As we integrate those renewable energies that my colleagues here spoke about, that integration requires a lot of knowledge that we then need to do capacity building to ensure that the municipal workers, they know what to do to continue when they integrate the systems into our network. Again, the changes that are coming require us to do a lot of analysis in terms of grid modernization. And then we need these powerful minds again. Your AI analytical systems that they come up with currently, that will be able to assist us in predictive maintenance to predict what is going to happen into our system before we hear from customers. I think those are the things that we need. Our protection system, you will remember that our circuit breakers, our relays, they were created in such a way they only understand the one flow of the electrons. So we need to redefine our network in such a way to accommodate the bidirectional that is currently taking place. So it's a lot that is happening that needs our attention. Hence, we need our youth, we need to invest in their powerful minds so that they can change what is coming moving forward, what we have done for the past 20 years, so they can take it forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I guess soon we'll see Tshwane opening up the CVs for youth so that we can fill up the space and take the innovation forward. Within my guest speakers, I have Lydia, who is the founder of African Youth Energy Network. Probably when you started with the foundation, you identified the gaps that youth participating within the energy space, particularly on the jet space. So the question to you is, what inspired you to start the African Youth Network, and how do you see youth shaping jet conversations across Africa?
Thank you very much. What inspired me to start the organization, African Youth Energy Networking, IAN, is, I would say curiosity killed the cat. And believe me, this cat is being killed every day. Still have 9 lives. I saw a gap, like you mentioned, between the industrial experts and the youths across the continent. And I have a very interesting mentor whom I'm sure maybe a lot of people by now have heard me say this a lot of times, Mr. NJ Ayuk. He sort of like lobbied me into joining the energy sector. I would always, when he hosts the Africa Energy Week that hosts every year in Cape Town, he would like, oh, Lydia, come through, just see what, if any of these inspired you. I was just getting excited. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to Cape Town. But I remember when I attended one of the sessions and I walked into a room and I actually realized that they were talking about my future, but I don't have a seat at the table. I don't have a say. Majority of the youths across Africa, they don't have access to rooms like these or big conferences. So I would pretty much say IAN was born out of frustration and hope. I remember when I came back from Cape Town, I was like, I really need to be involved in this sector, because I would hear renewable energy, I would hear clean energy, but then what does it mean for me, a youth? What does it mean for high scholars? And we did a survey, and believe me, it started like as if it's a joke. We did a survey and we had quite a huge turnout numbers. And one thing that stood out is that most youth, they were saying they don't have access to information. They are not invited to spaces like this, but they are willing. So how I see youth shaping the just energy transition, just to speak about the just energy transition, when I hear the words just energy transition, for me, I just don't think about technology or carbon targets. It goes beyond, deeper than that. It means fairness. It means, like I said, access as well. So we're talking about a young youth in Khayelitsha or Duduza should have the same right to opportunity as a person who lives in Branston or Sandton. Because when we speak about energy, it's no longer a luxury, it's a right that every youth is supposed to have. We have, over the years, we've been operating for 4 years now, going to 5 if I'm not mistaken. Over the years, we've seen how youth with great minds, and I'm really, really impressed with Ria's chat that I saw earlier at the back. It's really impressive. So the youths, they do have solutions. They design for solutions. We want to see an energy transition that is very inclusive, and I'm happy to say that this panel, I see it's quite very inclusive. They have the ideas, they have the solutions, but what they just don't have is a seat at a table for the solutions to be had. So it's small steps like this that really matters, and I'm happy to see that big corporate like City Power, they are making initiatives to hear these voices out, because I like beating the norms of saying the youths are the future leaders. No, they are the present leaders of now. And in the context of South Africa, I feel like the just energy transition is just not only about shifting to a cleaner and more sustainable energy. It's more than that. It's supposed to be human-centered. South Africa only has one goal to do right now, is if we get it right the first time, then everything is going to flow into place. And how do we do that? Is by hearing these voices out, is giving these voices a platform, giving youth a platform to share their ideas. I know majority of, what is the generation that comes after the 1Ks? Before them? Yes, before the technology, right? The ones before, they struggle, they do struggle with technologies, but these guys, they're still young, they're still excited, that they've grown up in the technology era. I don't think you have seen that TV with a big head at the back. So I always say that these guys, they understand how to integrate technology in the energy space. So that's where I see the energy, the just energy going towards to the youths. They're not just future leaders, but they are driving the force. Thank you.
So I see collaboration that as youth, we need to collaborate with such as your companies, but I believe like there's more awareness that from your angle that needs to be preached to the youth, given the accessibility of how do youth then access the information whereby they need to participate and make their voice heard. How can youth collaborate or in partnership with the private sector?
Perfect. So it's going to look, I'm advertising my organization, but why not? So that is why organizations like Africa Youth Energy Network, they exist. There's, I would say there's a little bit of misconception when it comes to having energy access. Most people, they feel like you should have years and years of experience for you to join the energy sector, but I always say you start from somewhere. You start from platforms like these, attending this. I really wish I can go back in time to be in this uniform right now so that I can start all over again with the knowledge that I have now, but it's impossible, obviously. I always encourage youths, be it university level, high school level, is that utilize your social media platforms. Somebody somewhere is looking. And I know sometimes we go like, but I've been knocking at doors, I'm trying to get into access, I'm not accepted. It's fine. All you just need to do is show up. Consistency is key. If you continue persisting, showing up, showing your drive, and how do you do that? I'll give an example of LinkedIn. It's one platform that is very, very underrated, but it has really done wonders for me. I'll post maybe twice or 3 times a month, but I'm showing consistency in my work and people are actually seeing. How you get involved in the energy space, you join organizations like ION. You can also volunteer at local energy projects in your community. Mobilize your friends. Ask them what are we facing, what challenges are we facing. Up until maybe beginning of this year, we really had crazy load shedding. And that's when I started seeing a lot of people being very innovative. I was like, this is good. At least it's now making us to not just think outside the box, but I always say, don't think outside the box, but break the box. There shouldn't be any limitations around you, because if you said, oh, I'm thinking outside the box, you're just going around that box. So I usually say, break the box. You are young. Nobody should tell you, say, oh, because you're young, you can't get into this space. Like I said again, you need to have years of experience. That's not the case. Right now, we have these organizations, like myself, my organization, there's other youth organizations that are doing the same things that I'm doing. So what I encourage most people is that after this session, during the lunch break, network, don't be scared. Ask questions. This is for you. You guys will be the ones. You see this table here, there's quite a lot of old people. In the next 10, 20 years, you'll be the ones, and you'll be the ones encouraging the youth how you started. So don't be scared, go for it, join the conversations like what you guys are already doing, join organizations like ION and others as well, and be intentional in everything that you do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Program Director. You will be agree with me. Okay, as closing Program Director, I've got Vasitana who would like to give some announcements. If you can allow her 2 minutes. And I would like to thank all the audience. Hopefully we're interactive and we can still network outside after the program. And I'd like to thank you all for participating, and don't do it to us only. Preach the gospel of how can youth participate and make their voice heard in all the spheres of power, energy sector. I thank you. Welcome, Basi, and we can step down.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to the 1K versus the 2K panel. Just a quick announcement. Thank you to the schools, thank you to our panelists for taking the time. I know it's exam season, but I see a lot of young people that are in the room that are taking up space. Just a quick announcement. We are excited to announce that the 2026 EDSM Schools Project will be opening applications the first week of December. So I encourage young people, the schools that are in here, to participate next year. The applications will be open from the 1st of December until mid-March, and we look forward to seeing young people participate in the next cohort of the EDSM Schools Project. And also, don't forget that there is 3 themes that we are focusing on, which is sustainability, energy efficiency, and also renewable energy. We are open to prototypes, posters, videos that the students can participate in, and we look forward to seeing what the future of innovation looks like. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we please give them another round of applause? To our learners, please, I just made a decision while I was down there after consulting with the board of directors that I'm gonna give each one of them this copy of my book, From Sacrifice to Greatness, because I believe they are the future of this country. So please, when we are done, please come to me during lunch. I will give you a copy of the book to all the learners that were here. Thank you so much. At this point in time, please allow me to call the two panelists that are supposed to come up. We're gonna have them as a combo. So please, it's grid modernization as well as the just energy. Please, may I please have all my panelists to come up, please? And we'll have the two moderators to do their job well done. But I was also asked to announce, to say, there are many kids. The ones you saw here are just the few that are presenting, but there are many scholars who are here who came to support this, and we just want to thank them and thank also each and all that are here and other schools. Can we please give them another round of applause? So these conversations are there, CEO, just to energize City Power, to say whatever we are doing, it's sparking greatness into the future of our country. So there is also another announcement that I can use this time as an advantage to say, please, if you found a Samsung phone, please bring it to me. I know I've got great people in this room. We're in Melrose Arc. We don't steal. The phone was just next to you and you decided to pick it up because you know it belongs to someone. Please give it to me. I will give it to the rightful owner. You know, phones are so important and they are part of energy. We are 7, okay. Thank you so much. Can I please give it to our moderators to just help us with introducing everyone, or allow everyone to introduce themselves? We've got a mic there and we'll have this one here. Thank you.
Hello. Oh, good afternoon, everyone. That's so quiet. I'm not used to quiet crowds. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. I see smiles now, so that's good. So I'm Itumeleng Mako. I'm a technical manager at Seagen Solar. Primarily, we provide solutions from different products, different solar equipment, rather, and solutions that we're offering to our customers, being installers. So we engage a lot with a lot of installers, providing support in terms of after-sales support, commissioning, design support prior to the installations, and also we do repairs of their equipment. So my primary role there is to be abreast of the latest technologies of solar equipment, be it panels, inverters, different types of inverters, and your BESS, your battery energy storage systems as well. So I'll give it over to my moderator as well to give, my co-moderator, to also give an introduction, and then we'll give it over to the panelists.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Monique Griffith, and I am at the City of Johannesburg Smart City Office, where I head up innovation. Innovations partnerships in particular, where we essentially work with youth and young innovation companies to find expression for service delivery and the improvement and alteration or modernization of service delivery within the city. So we essentially do calls for innovation and then place them inside of the municipality, seeding them so that we can see if this is actually a viable solution for the city of Johannesburg. There are other things that we do, obviously, but I think that is one of the most critical ones, since we have several that are now with Joburg City Joburg City Parks and Zoo, specifically looking at climate issues.
I'll start this side. Please just give a short bio of yourself.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Peter Borrein. I'm from the South African Supplier Diversity Council, and we are a corporate-led organization and proud partner of City Power as well as a corporate member of our organization. And we're currently working within the green energy space with the GIZ and partners like Cecil, Citibank, etc., driving transformation within the green energy space. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Agrippa Nadubreza. Today I'm wearing a Subvia hat. As you already know, Subvia is everything solar, from residential, including manufacturing, all the way to utility scale. But my main interest, and as the deputy chair of the PV Solar Residential Working Group, is on quality and compliance. Also working with installers and other industries. Thanks.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Tutane Dozobiela. I'm also wearing my mkhaile today. So today I'm representing SIGRE, Southern Africa. I'm the chair for SIGRE D2 on information systems, telecommunications, and cybersecurity. And I'm also the part of the SIGRE Strategic Advisory Group, which is responsible for development of technical brochures. We work very close with IEEE, IEC. I think that is where I'm going to end for now. Thank you.
Sanbonan. My name is Lawrence Boya. I'm from the city of Johannesburg. I head the Smart City Office, which is entrusted with the responsibility of leading the city into a smart city, a future of innovation, digital transformation, citizen empowerment, just to say a few. Thanks.
Good afternoon. My name is Naftali Mafa. I am the director and founder of African Resource Development. African Resource Development is a mining and service company that operates in West Africa, South Africa, and parts of Australia. We just an investment company through the mining services and mining exploration. Part of the reason I'm here is through the company that I co-found, Eco Energy International. It's not a very popular company or a concept that we do. Our purpose is to drive the just transition in such a way that I keep saying that looking at the just transition through a black eye, which means that we look at the just transition through the premises and the area that we operate in, which encompasses the critical minerals. We believe that coal is one of the critical minerals in South Africa. We believe that there's nothing wrong with the coal. There is also the issue with the coal is the emissions and the sulfur. So if we misdiagnose the issue of the coal and say that the coal is dirty, we'll be heading the wrong path. So we believe that the just transition is factored in and based in of what you have in the country. So, and part of that is the coal for us and the energy affordability. We believe that if we let go of the coal and think that the coal is the bad word, we will be heading the wrong path. So this is part of what we do.
Thank you so much to our panelists. So I think we'll just get started on the questions. And I'm going to start with a question for you, Mr. Boya. I remember in one of the State of the Nation addresses, the president mentioned his dream, let's call it that, his vision to build a smart city, right, for South Africa. Now, what does that vision translate to, in everyday terms, to bring better understanding? And maybe you can target the response toward a just energy transition aspect.
Okay, I think let me start by saying context is very important. What is our context? First of all, South Africa is a developing country. And this city as well reflects that in terms of the challenges that we face, where we still have to develop as a country, as a city, and we need to industrialize. Because through industrialization, we are able to grow the economy, we are able to create and develop our own solutions instead of looking at other people's solutions. We are able to innovate. I was so inspired by the young people that were sitting here before us, because in them I was seeing the future. And we have to then be saying the right things about how we as a country need to lead, especially in the African continent, in terms of innovation and producing our own solutions. Energy availability is obviously important, and the reliability of that energy from a context of smart city solutions, etc. So it's important that we start from the fundamentals. What do our people have, and what is it that they don't have? Our people don't have, not all of them have electricity, not all of them have water, not all of them have roads, etc. So in other words, the foundations that we need to be able to build smarter cities are still not there. In this day and age in South Africa, there are schools that don't have proper sanitation. So if we go back and look at what happened during COVID, when the schools were closed, and the learners were expected to learn from home. Learners from working class and poor households could not do that because they are not connected, first of all, in terms of electricity, as well as in terms of digital connection. So for me, therefore, I don't want to speak about the president's dream if we go out to Alex and ask them about their dream, it's about where to access clean water, etc. So let's start there and say that the things that we take for granted, those of us that are here, that people in the townships, in the rural areas don't have, they must be the foundation on which we talk about smart cities. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Boyer. That gives context, and it brings reality to the current state of things now. For us to be engaging in a conversation about grid modernization or any AI integrated systems, we need energy availability, which is still one of the biggest challenges in this country. Right, and speaking of challenges that we're also facing, Monique.
Yes, so when we're talking about, as you say, we're a developmental state, and that means that when we're looking at the jet, there needs to be a balance between, one, decarbonization, and also accessibility to electricity. I think the Professor Dlala earlier this morning indicated that it's not about one or the other, it's how we transitioning, a just transitioning is about what types of energy are we going to be addressing. So to you, Naftali, I have a question with respect to, I call it clean coal. So when we're saying that it's not a complete transition from coal to green energy, my question to you is how are we then putting your clean coal into the mix so that we do have more of a slower transitioning so that we are making sure that we are bringing people along?
All right, I'm from Limpopo. So in Limpopo, when we have donkeys, we don't kill the cows. So we keep both. Hopefully that makes sense. So what I'm saying now is that the coal is the center of the economy. So Ndate just said just before here, that the energy affordability is part of the issue. So what I'm getting worried about is that when I speak to the CGS, Council for Geoscience, it's a state-owned entity. They're telling us that we've got about 300 to 350 coal reserve. This is known. So South Africa is not yet completely explored. So this is the feedstock, 350 years of coal, okay? So now we have got other issues. We say that we've got emissions and sulfur in the atmosphere. But what is the real problem here? Is the real problem the coal or the emissions? Well, if we diagnose it right, we'll find that the problem is the emissions and the sulfur. Nothing wrong with the coal. What do we do then? We take the coal as the feedstock. We invest in a technology that coal is the same as water, H2O. You can split the coal. When you split the coal, you are able to get what they call syngas or hydrogen, but it's coal blue. So instead of shutting the coal-fired power stations, you don't do that. If you do shut the coal-fired power stations, you've got a lot of coal that's in the ground that you have got no use. The first problem with that is that once you've got a lot of coal and you've got no use for it, you can't consume it, okay? You don't have the value chain of the coal. Someone will come into the country and offer to buy the coal at their own price. Then you become what they call a price taker. It has happened before. This is not what I make up. Niger is the biggest producer of uranium. Okay, they are big in exporting uranium to France. France generates about 70 gigawatts of electricity, while Niger generates about 250 megawatts. They have got no single uranium power station. They are there to serve as an export at the price decided by the taker. So what makes me worried is that if we don't invest and use what we have in our own terms and address the cleaners. I'm not saying continue to burn the coal. If you do that, then you're going to have a problem because you continue with the emission. I'm saying invest in the clean technology to still use the feedstock. We are in no comparable position with other countries. We've got a very high unemployment rate. If with the coal industry intact, still operating, we can't afford, the cost of living in South Africa is very high at the moment. We have introduced what they call two-pot system. Two-pot system basically says that what we live and earn today, we can't afford today. So what do? We go and borrow into tomorrow to live today. But my worry is that when tomorrow comes, what are we living off?
Thank you. I think that is the perfect response of how we justly transition and moderately transition in accordance with what our economy can handle. So thank you for that.
Now I'm going to go to Mr. Tutuka. Now let's speak on research, right? How is SIGRE, contributing to grid modernization, particularly in integrating renewable energy and integrating renewable energy and enabling a smarter and more resilient grid, right? How does research come in there?
Okay, no, thank you so much. Let's first give this gentleman a round of applause for dropping the mic on us. Yeah, so I'm going to first give a context of SIGRE. SIGRE, it's been around since 1921. So there are participants from all over the world, over 10,000 participants. So you've got experts from Europe, Africa, China, all these continents are being part of this. So as part of the research that we do, let's first take a step back, looking at the power system as a whole. It used to be unidirectional. So generation was mainly done using inertia, coal, as the gentleman who spoke before me. Then you had your transmission lines, which were there to transmit electricity from generation down to your consumers and your commercial components. But now that has changed. So let's first look at how SIGRE is basically structured. It's got 4 domains. with 16 study committees. Domain number 1 focuses on equipment. So you find your study committees, which speaks to your transformers, amongst others. Then you've got domain B, which focuses on technology that is used to transport this. So you have your cables, your lines. Then you've got domain C, which focuses on systems. I'm going to touch on market. I'm going to touch on consumers. So those are covered within there. Then you've got these where there is material cut across everything, and the one which I represent, which is D2, which focuses on information systems, telecommunications, and cybersecurity. Now, let's look at the grid. So, and the changes thereof. So, as I mentioned, that it used to be unidirectional from generation down to the load, but now you've got your consumers having a capability to produce, so they are called prosumers. And most of the changes which are happening at a distributor system or operator, which City Powers also is. So it starts from there down to the consumers and the introduction of the electric vehicles and also the wide area monitoring. So there are a lot of changes which are happening. And speaking of energy transition, we speak of 3 Ds, which is your digitalization, your decarbonization, and decentralization of the grid. So SECRET then looked at how they can basically deal with that. So they developed 8 pillars to counter that. One is on digitalization. The other one is on solar, PV, and wind. The other one is on storage. The other one is on hydrogen. Grid flexibility, consumer, prosumer, and EVs. The sustainability and climate and sector integration. So these are all the building blocks basically for a modernized or an automated grid. So as I mentioned, that I'm also representing D2 on information systems, telecommunications, and cybersecurity. So now I'm going to try to show how these 8 pillars align with D2 study committee. So I think we've heard our speakers earlier quoting DEMS, quoting your supervisory control and data acquisition, quoting your IDS, amongst others, your advanced metering infrastructure. So those form part of your information systems. And speaking of your Internet of Things devices, like your smart meters, we're looking at AI as a tool used for asset management. It forms part of that. Then B is the telecommunications part. So you've got this device and you've got this application. You need to be able to transport the information from point A to point B. So telecoms is known as the enabler for smarter distribution networks. So we use different technologies, wired and wireless. With wired, we use mainly fiber. You've got the optical transport networks, amongst others. Then you also have your multi-packet label switching. Then, most importantly now, we design taking into consideration cybersecurity. So, with that said, the third part is the cybersecurity element, whereby we develop standards, frameworks, and regulations to ensure that we secure our grid. So, as I said, that the next war is going to be a digital war, and we have seen throughout the world that most of these Cold Wars are fought using drones and whatnot. So everything is digital, and with the consumers becoming prosumers, and if one of those are hacked, you need to ensure that it doesn't cascade and impact the entire grid. And speaking of the market, as the speaker spoke yesterday about the peer-to-peer market, whereby we can be able to sell electricity to each other. We need to ensure that we do it in a secure manner. I think our Sergeant did cover the 3 pillars, which is people, technology, and processes. So we developed the platforms which allows to make sure that these trades are done and done in a secure manner. And speaking of smart meters and technical losses, the utilization of smart grids can actually help bring the grid closer to the customers. one of the speakers did touch on the microgrid in Alex. As soon as the community feels as part of the solution, they make sure that they protect it. And also looking at the technical losses by cutting the long transmission lines and having smart meters and concentrators, you know how to deal with the load, forecast the usage, and then you can also know who is basically taking electricity. Maybe, should I just call it theft? Maybe I need to end there because I can speak till Jesus comes back. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think you've said a mouthful. I wanted to also touch just a bit and summarize it. I also wanted to touch a bit on one of the promising solutions. It's microgrids, right? And please allow me to touch on this one because we had a separate chat off the stage about this. Now, how can we leverage that to accelerate, what do you call it, energy availability? How can we leverage microgrids to accelerate electrification?
Okay, no, thank you so much for that. So some of the benefits of developing nano microgrids and basically any form of an islanded grid, we are bringing it closer to the consumer, meaning that you can have, since Agrippa is going to touch on solar, you can have your solar with BESS, basically provisioning or providing electricity to the community of Alex, for instance. Then that is part one. The use of IoT devices, like your meters, your data concentrators. So you can have a master station or a data concentrator which understands how basically the users, they are using the electricity. And also you can actually use those smart meters to curtail to avoid the load shedding. So one, you use smart grids or microgrids to bring grid closer to the users. And two, basically, another challenge which is big in Africa is that 600 million people do not have access to electricity. In South Africa, we've got a different problem, which is a technical loss issue, whereby it's either people are not paying for electricity or somehow there are losses throughout. So the microgrid can also enable that with the use of AI to forecast, to predict, and so forth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tutuka. I think I'll hand over to get more into how we involve the communities.
Absolutely. So, thank you. You're Tutukani? Yeah, so I'm asking a question of Peter. Tutukani has mentioned so many sectors with opportunities for skills training and localization, because what we know is it's great to have solar panels, wind turbines, et cetera, but if we're not localizing, we are not actually creating jobs. All we're doing is creating another wonderful export market for other countries, and we'll be importing, and we know imports is just taking away another job. So my question to you with SASDDC, with the South African Supplier Diversity Council, how do you go about ensuring that the skills are ready and prepared and that SMMEs can actually take advantage of the JET objectives?
Okay, thank you for that. So as the South African Supply Diversity Council, we're involved in a number of programs. And our current flagship program is the one with the GIZ and the European Union, where we're looking at a project for women and youth in green. And that program enables training and development of women and youth into entrepreneurship, specifically within the green economy, as well as looking at technical training, where we're partnering with various organizations as well, like the likes of SASL, that's also involved in the program, where we're looking at skilling people in renewable energy, looking at recycling, as well as other areas of technical training within the renewable and the energy space. Also outside, within that program, we've integrated what we call is our leadership program, which is an international program, where we take local small businesses to travel abroad, also to go understand what's happening in some of the other countries and how do they then build and develop that locally, working with various institutions and universities as well from a localized perspective. Critical to what we're also doing is supporting SMMEs that have innovation, because a lot of innovators really struggle with the bridge between commercialization and business. And also, how do we measure that? And how do we also get them investor ready? Because that's one of the big challenges that we have within small businesses. So in that, we're also working with various financial institutions, banks, the Department of Small Business, where we're also running specific programs now to see how do we bridge those gaps as well, to fulfill that gap. Because like I said, innovators know how to innovate. It's really the commercialization that lacks. But in saying that, there's a lot of innovation happening in South Africa, and where we also see some of the challenges is around the regulatory and policy side, and getting their innovations accredited in the right process. Sometimes time is a factor there, and we also now see that we're starting to work with the likes of TIA, etc., on how do we accelerate those initiatives that we're working on within our various programs. But also what's critical in what we're doing regarding the development and skilling is also really looking at how do we work with our corporate market in relation to their supply chains in adopting these technologies of SMMEs, because we know that market access is also a challenge in the private sector for small businesses. So we've got a program that we work with various corporates and multinationals with in how do we give access or be the gateway in supporting those SMMEs in getting these opportunities and supporting them and making sure they're ready to participate in the private sector market based on the requirements in those areas as well. So we have what we call is a certification program, which we drive internally, adopted by a number of multinationals and other global stakeholders, which we integrate into their local subsidiaries in South Africa from a global perspective, and to support that in a developmental process. As we knew within the energy space, but just prior to the energy space, looking across all sectors, to date working with various multinationals with the integration of SMMEs into their supply chains, we had did just over 3 billion in SMME procurement, direct procurement of multinationals into the SMME space with the support of our organization. And that is how we're supporting the integration and the support of SMMEs. Thank you.
So can I ask, because I think funding is one of the biggest issues, so are you getting over the funding challenge that a lot of SMMEs have by helping them to integrate into a supply chain and get into a company where they can actually exchange their services for money? Because we see that there's very few grants that actually help innovators to get out to market. And then on top of that, if they do want funding, a lot of it is loan-based. So you'll see in other countries abroad that there's huge grant funding for the stimulation of green initiatives. So is that how you are also getting over the challenge of funding?
So from the challenge of funding, what we do, we integrate a number of aspects. So there's the supply chain component, and there's also the enterprise development component. So we would then work with a corporate partner and saying, here's an SMME, here's the technology needed, let's ready this, let's get it ready for you as a client. Let's look at the gaps in that business so that there's no failure in delivery. And if there's any gaps in relation to getting that business ready, what would that cost be? Then how do we integrate your enterprise development funding into that organization so that they become part of your supply chain to make your business better, and in turn give you a return on investment as well. And that is how we're designing these programs and projects, and also helping with the financial closure going forward. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And I'd like for Mr. Agrippa to build on how we interact effectively with the community being EPCs, being installers, right, and being the end users, right? I know Subvia has long championed initiatives like the Green Card, the PV Green Card, and other installer training programs. How are we evolving those market-specific programs to ensure that we are ready for a more data-driven, AI-driven ecosystem?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So one of my key roles at Savia within the PV residential space is to ensure that the quality and compliance is upheld, and this involves working with municipalities, different institutions, and mostly installers, because installers are the ones who need to do installations within your different homes. So now the long-standing initiatives, as you're asking, particularly the PV Green Card, and also its associated training programs, they are inherently there to then build qualified workforce that will then be ready for, it's not really the future, for now, the digitization and the AI. And what we are doing, it's more about enforcing core principles that are essential for data-driven future. So whether it's within the EPC or the installers, we talk more about data-driven decision-making mindset. So that's the shift that we are taking. But there are some key aspects to make this evolution a success. So if we zoom into PV Green Card directly, currently the core function is industry-led quality assurance via as-built digital report for every installation that is done by the different installers. But then how does the adoption for a digital or AI future look like? So where we want to get to is creating a standardized digital data foundation with accurate installation data, because this is very crucial also where we are going, where in the near future we're also looking at integrating these these small rooftops installation to form part of the utility grid. So the accuracy of data is very important. And when it's digitized, it just helps to eliminate a lot of errors and then inaccuracies. And from the installer training, obviously this is not done in-house by Savia, but we partner with training institutions offering training to different installers. So currently the core function is to ensure that installers are assessed and trained on quality, safe, and also compliant work. But if we were to then adopt for digital AI future, this will involve embedding a quality and data first mindset. Because currently now data it's very important. So why do we want to do this? Just to ensure that there's reliable physical assets, and also that the reporting itself, as a prerequisite of really shifting that is already, it's very important. If you check now, currently it's mostly paper trail. A lot of installers have not digitized this information. And when it's required, maybe you need to register for your SSEG. It's a bit of a challenge that you do not have this information digitized. And then if we look at skills development overall, so the adoption for a digital AI future will include, say, building a broad qualified talent pipeline, which is essential for operating and maintaining a more complex digital energy strategy. But on the skill set, what is missing now is just empowering the diverse workforce, including women and previously unemployed, both women and youth to be part of this digital transformation. So if you look at a lot of these partners who are doing training, they do focus on women and also youth. So what is the key takeaway on skills and evolution? Now, obvious initiatives are not starting from scratch. These initiatives have been ongoing for quite some time now. But by systematically enforcing quality compliance and data-rich paper trail, mostly through the PV green card, we are creating the fundamental building blocks, both in terms of the hardware and also the human capital, upon which a digital and AI-enabled energy future can be securely built. So it's very important that we are not left behind. And I mean, we can have the relevant technology, the latest technology, but if the human capital is not skilled, it's not trained, it's really going to be an issue. It's going to be a stumbling block to then migrate from where we are now to the digital transformation that includes AI. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Griba. And in closing, I think we are almost out of time. But in closing, you know, as we're building a smarter grid and we are integrating smarter systems into our everyday roles, we should always keep in mind that, you know, digital transformation and AI integrated systems are not supposed to be, you know, replacing people. They're supposed to be improving the quality of life. You know, they're supposed to be transforming people. They're supposed to be bringing ease of use to people, availability, you know, affordability as well into people, not necessarily just a replacement to human intervention. Monique?
Yeah, and I just think that if we look at the complexity of JET, we will see that we've been here before. Trying to balance out how to advance our economy while also bringing people along. So I think we have been able to progress over the last 30 years. I think we will still be able to progress, knowing that we have to be able to access markets internationally, and that we have to transform because our developing countries are the ones that feel the impact of degrading and climate change more than any of these other countries that are actually the offenders. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our panelists. We had to cut the session short, but are there any questions? I think we can take questions from the floor for our panelists. Okay, that means clarity was there. All right, thank you so much.
I do have one more question.
Okay,
if
all right.
There's no questions from the floor. Back to Naftali. We know that competitiveness of our market is an issue, and especially with our high cost of electricity. When you're talking about clean coal, is this a way for us to continue with coal, but to also bring down the price that we are currently paying? I think that was just a last standing question with respect to balancing out the use of coal as we are transitioning into green energy.
The price aspect is I don't think it's optional to start with. So you can't really go lower than you are now. Okay, that's the first answer. And then the explanation of that answer is that if you are bringing in new form of electricity generation, you are looking at the first thing, the time, and you're also looking at the capital. And then now go and compare that with an existing coal-fired power station. It's already there. Okay, and in average, in South Africa, an average power station will last you about 40 to 45 years. So if you go and look at what you have, which is existing, about 15 existing power stations, you look at them, and then you go into those power stations, you refurbish them, and then you repurpose them. This is capital, but not anywhere near bringing in new source of energy. Okay, that's the second aspect. And then now you've got feedstock. The part of the cost of electricity, the one of the costs is the inflation. The inflation is skyrocketing, and then also we can't keep the lights on now, which means that now the foreign direct investment, the investor confidence goes really down. When it does, it opens that if there is no confidence investment, then the inflation goes up. And then when the inflation goes up, everything starts to be unaffordable. And that's where you're going to control. So if you repurpose the power station and then you are able to keep the lights on, okay, when you keep the lights on, you are able to let the new industries, new factories to open. And when you do that, you're able to let them employ more people. When you employ more people, they get paid. When they get paid, they pay tax. When they pay tax, and the government, you know what I mean? This is like a knock-on effect. But if you go into say, and now you've got a problem, and then you go into address the problem using a different manner. It's when you go to a doctor and you are dehydrated, and the doctor gives you Panadol. Well, the doctor should tell you to go and drink water, and then that will stop you from having pain. But you are giving Panadol. This is another market there. So if we calm down, recalibrate, look at the problem, don't fix the symptoms. If you fix the problem, everything else will sort itself out.
Great ending, great ending.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can we please give them another round of applause, please? Thank you so much, panelists. Thank you. Thank you to our moderators as well for the job well done. I need to drop a statement here. And the statement says, "Blessed are the flexible, for no matter how much they bend, they never break." And I can tell you, our panelists did exactly that. I've got some glasses here. Someone dropped their glasses somewhere. I know you may not see me right now, but your glasses are here. Your glasses are here, so you are safe, please. Just ask for the program director. I will definitely bring them to you. And I need to make this other announcement that the Samsung phone was found. So I told you, you guys, you are just amazing. Thank you so much, colleagues. At this point in time, allow me to announce this, that please note that for your tickets or parking, there'll be a QR code that needs to be made. So please, as we go to lunch, go to where we registered earlier on. You'll get a QR code that will allow you to leave with your car peacefully. Then the next one is that, thank you. Then the next one is that the pictures and the videos are on our City Power as well as Joburg City platforms. So please, all our platforms, you'll find your pictures there and they'll be there for some time. I was asked also to ask our CFO, Ume Sadiki, to come and assist us with the presentation of gifts to our speakers. Then we'll be moving to the close, please. You'll hold me so that you don't fall.
Thank you so much. To the last panel, I was sitting there and I'm thinking, I thought a transition, it's a proper evolution, but the last speaker says no, take care of what you have and repurpose what you have. And I think we have done that, CEO, very well when you repurposed the gas-powered stations. So we have had, and I suppose we will most definitely consider the discussions that were going on here. I'm standing here to just hand over the gifts to all the speakers that we have had since morning, if they can make their way up here. So me, I'm not standing up.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sheshe. Thank you, man. Sheshe. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sawubona, siyabonga.
Siyabonga nathi. Yeah, kuona na gift.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting us.
Do I say Tatanda?
Sikom.
Simko Mkwambie.
Yes. Thank you so much.
And I think the kids were not sure if they were counted.
No.
You can see it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Wait. Thank you. Okay, Barkim. Yes.
Okay.
Please
Thank
give
you.
me.
Thank you.
Okay. So that's good. Thank you so much. Can we give them a round of applause, please? Ladies and gentlemen, I think we've done well in terms of time. Can you please give yourselves a round of applause? At this point in time, allow me to ask our CEO to come up so that she can assist us with the vote of thanks as well as closing the energy Indaba. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for our CEO. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Good afternoon to yourselves. I think my one is to really just come here and express gratitude that we made this call to yourselves to say, please come and share with us your ideas of how we can keep the lights on for our people and progress for society. We invited you here as our guests, as our customers, as our service providers, as our funders, as our stakeholders, and also colleagues in Tshwane and other municipalities, Sentlek and so on, and you came in your numbers. And for that, we are really grateful. I believe in this endeavor for ourselves as City Power, we really gained a lot of wisdom that's going to assist us in doing our work. Energy equality became a big issue, and that's really one of the cornerstones of our own strategy to say we do need to do what we can to ensure that everybody has access to electricity. And we also, with that, and understanding that energy affordability is a big one. And the conversations were really around that in terms of how can we as a collective do what we can to make sure that we keep the cost of electricity as low as possible. Energy security, a big one. We must be thankful, I think, for the reserves of coal that we have. Currently at City Power, we get our electricity predominantly from Eskom. We also have Kelvin, which is coal-fired, and we are collaborating with them in terms of the issues that were raised here. How do we deal with emissions? How can we invest in technology so that we do not get to lose the good that we have? While we are diversifying and going for our municipal independent power producer programs. So we got a lot of wisdom. And the fourth element of our strategy is really just energy supply. How do we make sure that we keep the lights on without load limiting, without load reduction, without load shedding, and any other load, whatever that we can possibly come up with. And we got a lot of input from yourselves. So we really say we thank you. We started this in 2022, and it was an idea at that point in time. But what we did is we kept to our promise. What we said to yourselves as the community that this is what we're going to do, we've really done that, and we wouldn't have done it without your support. And you coming here today again is to hold us accountable, keep us honest, that we are about the public. We are supposed to keep the lights on for our people, and we can only do that when you also hold us accountable to make sure that we do that which we are here for. So from City Power, I think I speak on behalf of the entire staff of City Power. I speak on behalf of the board and really City of Johannesburg to say we really thank you. We appreciate that you took your time for the 2 days to spend the time with us. And to our executive mayor, who again is here, he's outside but busy on an interview, we really thank him as well that this wouldn't be possible at all without the leadership that we get from him, without the guidance that we get from him, without him holding us accountable and actually whipping us when we are wrong, and without the continuous support that we get from him. So also to our executive mayor, we are quite thankful. So we thank you, and at this point, we declare the Energy Indaba for 2025 closed. I thank you.